Hello, everyone. I'm Gabe Viggers, and this is
James Poulter. Everyone knows me as JP from Vixen Labs.
And so he just talked at the Voice Summit AI conference about a few things. And so we talked about 3 M's.
Yeah.
Metadata.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
And what was the third one again?
Media.
Media.
I suppose it kind of hits on all 3 subjects. So, one of the things that we're looking at is, where does this thing go in the next 12 to 24 months, right? I think everyone's seen that voice has been a kind of plaything in a few spaces, particularly with brands. They've kind of been trying things out, trying to work out what potentially works, what doesn't, and we've learned a lot in the past couple of years. And so as we think forward 12 months, where does this kind of go in 2022? We see that media is a big area, right? That
Definitely.
we've spent so much time working out what we want to consume and when we want to consume it, and the patterns that we consume it has changed drastically. And so that control paradigm of how we access our media is completely changed. And then when it comes to money, well, we're also trying to spend our money differently. And we want to be able to spend it in the most friction-free way possible, which is our voices. So I think we've seen that definitely the customer and consumer expectation of what voice can do has elevated, and customers are going to expect that their brands can meet them there. And then the metaverse.
Yeah, I was just about to say my favorite topic.
We're excited about it, but it presents some really interesting challenges of how do we protect our voices in that space, and particularly also how voice will be the control paradigm for virtual reality worlds, augmented reality. We're not going to be swiping around on our glasses. We're going to be talking to them, and that presents some interesting challenges and huge opportunities for the voice industry.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, I'm going to hand off to my co-host, Ian Utile over here.
Hello, everybody.
Hey. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Nice to see you.
Your talk was amazing.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah. You're like one of the guys that when I hear you speak, and it's been this way for years, I'm like, I want to be as good as JP.
That's very flattering, but it's probably inaccurate. No, it's good fun. I think just being amongst the kind of audience here, I know, obviously for lots of people joining us online, it's inevitable, right?
Right.
The world is still a bit scary, and we totally get that. But one of the big things about being here and why we committed both as sponsors at Vixen and also to come and speak and be here in person is the community, because this industry is tight knit.
Yes. It is.
And it's an ecosystem that relies upon one another. We rely upon our partners, many of which are here, some of the clients that are represented here as well, and the actual conferences actually play quite a significant part in the ecosystem, which I don't think is necessarily a constant in many other places. And I very much see voice in the same way that maybe South by has kind of played a part for the wider interactive industry for a long time. This event is actually pivotal in making sure that the industry is advancing and it's being pushed forward. Massive kudos to Pete and the whole team of putting it back on. I think if this hadn't happened, that would have been a real signal. But the fact that we're here and that people have come out, both virtually if you're watching this and also those who are in person, it speaks spades about how resilient this industry is.
It is. I mean, I think Bradley doing Project Voice in Florida last month was a big deal.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people filled gaps during the last year and a half. You look at Dr. Terry Fisher with the Voice Den.
We've been there. We've both been there. Been there
very early, right?
I've been there at 2 a.m. Terry, if you're watching this, anything that's not on kind of 5 p.m. Pacific time would be appreciated. But otherwise, I'm with you. We need these moments to connect as a community, to challenge each other, and to encourage each other as well. It's such an encouragement to be here, to hear the same struggles, but also the same opportunities, to see where people are moving, and there's so many different component parts that make up what this industry is about, and that's what I find so exciting about it.
I met you and Pete the same day.
That's right.
That was at Bradley's Alexa conference.
That's correct.
In Chattanooga several years ago. And I just remember looking at what Voice Summit was at the infancy and just thinking, wow, Pete has a vision that's very CES, very professional, very grand. And I think even in the reboot, which is kind of a dry run for next October.
That's right,
This is still a great example of what Pete and his team at Modev are capable of. One thing I'd like to do with you, I think I'll have our camera team move this way, and we'll go this way very slow. I just want to stop by these booths and just talk about who these companies are to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So let's just start with Pindrop. They're your neighbor.
Yeah, they're
your
our neighbor.
So talk to me and those that are watching us about Pindrop, and then we'll just 10, 30 seconds on each. Let's just talk a bit about who we have here.
So I think Pindrop and others like them in the space, one of the big things around voice is security, and that's something that we can't ignore. If you want to unlock things like voice banking, voice shopping, biometrics for accessing your health data via voice, for example. These use cases rely upon kind of consumer trust, right? If you don't trust it, you're not going to use it, and to be able to trust it, you need to feel secure in it, and that's where some of these kind of folks like Pindrop and others kind of fit into the mix. Is that we need means of verifying, authenticating via voice, not only so that we know it's you, right, when you go in, but also so that you feel that you are known by the company that you're trying to access. So that's crucial for these guys.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Next one we have is Skilled Creative. So I know Brandon well, so I'll talk to Skilled Creative. Skilled Creative and your company, Vixen, you guys compete for business. You're both agencies.
It's no competition. No, I'm kidding. we're friends.
I guess that phrase actually works for everybody.
No, that's absolutely true. So I think the thing that's really interesting, I think Brian and the team will attest to this as well, is that what we're seeing massively in the industry right now is that brands are really beginning to move out of I talk about the kind of moving from playthings to being professional, right?
Yeah.
And they're coming out of we just do the innovation bit. Are you seeing the same thing?
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing is obviously education. So a lot of these, our clients and prospects, they just don't know what they can do, and they think, oh, well, we built a skill, 2 years ago, and it didn't really give us the lift that we were looking for, and so we're just not going to do it. And it's like, well, there's a lot of other programs out now and a lot of other things that you can do. So.
And they started a couple of years ago, right, trying to kind of do some of these experiments. People who were early, when I was at Lego, it was the same thing, 2017, 2018.
Right.
And the technology was in such an infancy stage.
It's so different.
Right then, right? It's accelerated so drastically.
Plus the people that had the skill set strategically with ideas and the skill set technically with development was just not there. Everybody had to be trained.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think one of the things that you guys, I'm sure, are seeing as well is that this is a bigger challenge around kind of how do you drive innovation through big businesses right now.
Right.
In the wake of the pandemic. I think 2020 we kind of all braced, kind of held tight, see if we get through it. And 2021 has been the story of essentially fatigue. People are tired, and no wonder, right? It's taken some time.
Well, a lot of people are saying that 2021 is actually worse than 2020 because everyone had their budgets all set, and then the pandemic hit, and they just said, okay, let's move it over to whatever it is that is happening now. We don't have any results or anything to compare it to, and then. Now, okay, 2021, now we have these results. Maybe they're not exactly what, we expected or what we'd hoped for. So it's kind of like a retrenching process. Yeah. But, I think it's definitely on the upswing. A little bit of a downswing at the beginning of the year. So,
but the ones that have been resilient though, right, have seen it through, and I think that now, certainly the conversations that we're having, I'm sure the conversations you guys are having with clients is 2022 is the year where we level up what we're doing and we get strategic about it, and that's exciting. So,
I want to thank both of your teams for all that you do to support the industry, because the reality is, without your two agencies like Rain, without you filling in the gaps, serving the Fortune 500 companies, this atmosphere would just be different. So many of the folks here speaking or vendor booths, they're clients, strategic partners, and they lean on you. In fact, us at Attention Live, we lean on both your teams.
I think
it's not important for strategy and creative, it would be for development stuff.
It is. I think the role that agencies have played always, and I've seen this in mobile, I saw it in social before as well, is that the end vendors are there, the interoperability layers are there, but you need people to bring it to customers, and that's ultimately what our teams are trying to do.
Yeah. And the creativity involved, that's a huge thing.
It's huge.
It's, any time you hear, oh, well, it's all about execution, it's about, it is, but creativity is so important, and taking the innovation and then listening to the customers and then taking that and putting that layer of creativity on it and then doing something new and
it's what accelerates the industry,
That's right.
which I think is great. So
Thanks for the stop, Brian.
Nice to see you.
All right.
Thanks.
Good to see you.
So Yellow AI, they got funded. They have over 1,000 clients. They exploded in Asia. Now they're in the States.
Yeah.
So, and maybe let's try to keep things brief so we can get through all of them before we get shut down.
Yeah.
So give me a little insight on your thoughts on Yellow AI.
Well, I think, again, what these guys are trying to kind of do, and particularly I think what's really interesting, and particularly dealing with the multi-language kind of side of what they do, is that, again, as we see maturity in the industry come, we need to be able to work outside of English, we need to be able to work in multiple markets, we need to be able to handle a far larger amount of kind of inbound queries and customers, and that's what these guys are kind of great at doing, and I think no wonder that they're excited about it. And
they have white and yellow M&Ms.
Just they've got the goodies,
want some?
They've got the goods. You got the goods, guys. You've got the goodies.
Yeah. Oh, wait. No, they'll take them.
Oh, okay.
They'll take them.
Are you going to zoom in?
Thanks, Eli.
AI logo on the end?
Yeah, that's right.
Little zoom here. Little zoom for the fans back at home. There you go.
And just to confirm,
more than the
JP is taller than me. Okay, I
Only
is
just.
boosted.
Literally.
On the one wheel of glory right here. Okay, we're gonna come back to Bespoke and because you'll interview John in a moment. But if you had to explain Bespoke in a couple sentences for people that don't know, how would you just explain what John and his team are working on and have built?
So whether you're building a skill, or an action, or a custom voice assistant, or you want to know what Alexa or Google is going to say about a query, that's what these guys are all about. Testing. The best voice experiences are the ones that have been tested rigorously and vigorously.
That's right.
Because everybody is different. And I think that when we kind of do testing in other paradigms, mobile or the web, there's only one way the back button ever works, right? You hit the button and it goes back.
Right.
But when it comes to language, there are just myriad ways,
right,
that we can talk. And so therefore you have to think about the voice models in much more complexity. And we'll come back and talk about this later with John, but one of the things that we've been building at Vixen is some custom work with the Bespoken team so we can actually test what Alexa and Google are going to tell you when it comes to branded search queries, which is obviously a massive opportunity area for voice search in the next year.
Next we have Deepgram, maybe the most exciting company in the whole transcription space, certainly one of the most, incredibly successful with the customers and the revenue and the strategic partnerships they put through. Again, if you had to explain Deepgram in your own words, briefly, how might you say it?
Well, I mean, speech recognition in all of its forms, right, is the kind of foundation of this stuff. If we cannot understand the way in which people are speaking to us, then, basically everything else kind of falls apart. We end up back in the kind of chatbot space.
Right.
And for that to kind of work across multiple platforms, we're not always going to be reliant upon Alexa, we're not always going to be reliant upon Google Assistant. We know that people want to move into their own custom assistants, and you need this kind of technology underpinning things, right? We need to be able to recognize voices in different cadences, different languages, different backgrounds. And if it's not for kind of these guys and others pushing that forward in the space, custom assistants just aren't going to get off the ground, and that's why it's so important.
Yes. OpenStream AI, delivering intelligence. How familiar are you with them?
Not that familiar.
Okay, so what I would say is that
You tell me.
it would be important to go to openstream.ai to find out for yourself. LXT, I'll be doing a rolling interview with them in a moment.
Okay.
And so we'll
Nice to
be
see
able
you guys.
to give you more insight then one-on-one, which we're looking forward to.
Be ready.
Thanks for being here.
Be ready. Nice to see you.
Okay, Speechly, I had a chance to walk with Colin today and do a walk-in interview. Otto gave one of the best live demos. Okay, you know what? Otto you gave the best live demo.
Come on, also, come in.
Since
You gave one of the
Katie, best. No, this is the very best I've ever seen.
The best.
No, since. Let me go since.
Careful.
Katie McMahon,
Yeah.
when she was at SoundHound, and she demoed Houndify at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center with me. So we're there April 2019, and I remember she pulls out her phone and she starts doing all these crazy, risky demos, and I'm like, oh, she has courage, you know?
Otto's got courage for a risky demo.
No,
This man
today,
knows.
he live coding on LinkedIn Live, doing the whole thing.
If you've not seen it, you got to watch
It was
this.
amazing. It was amazing.
And he's also just come all the way from Helsinki and is still awake, which I don't really understand. I gave myself a 24-hour lead time. This dude is just running on fumes at this point. So,
Coffee.
It's the coffee.
It's the American coffee.
It's the coffee and salted. It's the coffee, right?
Yeah.
And salted licorice.
Of course. Yeah.
Salted
and chocolate.
licorice.
And Finnish chocolate, of course.
Finnish
Yes,
chocolate.
yes,
Yeah.
we're coming back for the
Who would travel
chocolate.
without chocolate?
World renowned for their chocolate. Cool. Anyway, so if you've not watched that,
if you don't know about
Go
Speechly,
see.
you have to check out Speechly. Your team is a bunch of data scientists, and many with PhDs. You have incredible biz dev, marketing, branding, storytellers on your team. You have built a really holistic solution, great investors, and you're going and building great proof of concepts. So if you're not familiar with them, you got to check them out. And if you haven't seen it already, check out Otto's demo that he did, and also check out the talk that Colin and I did as we were rolling through the space. Thanks for letting us stop by.
I mean, adding voice to the web,
Yes.
left, right, and center. These
Okay,
guys
I think we're
doing
going to go
it
this
right.
way, media team.
Okay,
and
we're
going
gonna
to
go that
catch
way.
the final boost before I hand
Yeah.
you off to John. What we have, we're rolling up on is Voice Lab.
Yeah, no, I don't know if these guys are around,
Voice
but I can
Lab-
tell you a little
Voice
bit.
Lab is doing some really cool things around analytics. How familiar are you with
Yeah,
Voice
so
Lab?
I mean, I think what's really interesting, so originally kind of birthed out of the Vocala team,
That's
funded
right.
via the Alexa Fund, very
Yes.
exciting new product. Voice Lab, is essentially if you know App Annie from the app world,
Yes.
from iOS and
right.
Android, these guys are basically doing the kind of the voice, kind of version for this. It basically wanting to kind of get that automatic metrics on your experiences,
Yeah.
being able to tap into kind of reviews and make that actionable really quickly, and also begin to benchmark within the industry. And I think that's what's really exciting about this. Being able to kind of link all those accounts in one place. That's what these guys are doing. Definitely recommend. Another UK team represent. Go see what Rob and the team are up to.
So Rob shows up, and I'm like, so what's your role? He's like, I'm the director, and his like dialed accent. And I'm like, I love that accent.
Mine ends up kind of mid-Atlantic by the time I've been in kind of 48 hours into the States, and then I need to take it back to the proper British accent and try and be much more accentuated.
Yeah.
Cool.
We have ACT, the App Association. Do you have much to share?
I don't,
Okay.
but I would love them to
If
share
you're
some more of it
interested,
later on.
sir, you can jump up.
I don't think he's with ACT.
No, okay, very good.
He's just sitting there,
Let's
but
end with
that's
BlueTag.
Wow.
Hi.
BlueTag.
We're just going around the vendor booths and saying hello to all of our friends. Good. If you'd like to come over, you can tell us a bit about BlueTag yourself. I'm just floating.
Levitate.
Yes.
What you didn't hear is he looks like he's floating, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Ian's special skill is levitation.
Why don't I actually let you wrap this up, and I'm going to hand you the microphone.
Alrighty then.
Okay. Well, so just briefly tell us, what is it that BlueTag does?
I'll have him do it.
Ah, here we go. Okay. We'll switch in here. As I was just saying, tell us what BlueTag does.
So we essentially we have a platform that helps retail brands deliver voice-based shopping experiences for their customers.
And so, voice commerce we're seeing on a rise. From our own data, we saw this year, 40% of people now willing to make a purchase via voice, be that digital goods or physical. When you think about kind of the journey that customers need to kind of go on, what is it that instills confidence in them to shop with their voices?
Yeah, so that's a great question, right? So I think I was hearing you speak, and I think what you said is that we kind of overpromised initially and we underdelivered, and I think that's completely accurate. So the biggest thing, I think a couple of things are happening. One, you have to realize that with voice commerce, we're going through the same journey we did with e-commerce, right? You had a website, you had to buy products, and I don't know, dating myself, but like early days of e-commerce, websites were not working well, right? You put your credit card in there, you submitted twice, it didn't work, then you did it again. Eventually it worked, and you were okay with that because it was either that or you had to go out there and find that product.
You had to go
right?
in the world.
You had to go out in the real world and find the product. What's different now is that everything that you can do with voice, you already have an option at home, right?
That's right, yeah.
You can already do that with your computer or mobile. So the only way voice is going to make sense with commerce is if you provide them something that's not slightly but a lot better than what they can already do.
That's right. Yeah.
So what we've been focusing on is tasks, right? People don't want to have a long conversation with you. They just don't want to talk, right? Everything that's working right now, like weather, music, it's all tasks.
That's right.
So we have a big thesis internally at our team. We spend a lot of time thinking about what are the tasks that these customers can perform with their brands, right? Order status, yes. Quickly being able to reorder something because you reorder, we're reordering.
So it's not actually just about the moment of purchase then, it's actually all of the other wraparound things that go with that shopping journey ultimately.
Yeah, exactly. And these are all, you can call it customer service. A lot of that turns into transactions. but what are the tasks that they should not have to launch a browser for, right?
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of them, and that's what creates customer loyalty. We're seeing repeat customer usage increase significantly in that
So it's
aspect.
bringing down the friction, it's breaking it down into those smaller component parts. It's inspiring trust ultimately.
That's it, exactly.
Absolutely.
And then you have a more loyal customer who's more connected with you, and even offline, they're spending more money now with you because you're now providing them that elite white glove service.
There you go. So BlueTag, you want to get into the voice commerce space? These are the chaps to talk to. Definitely
Awesome.
get in touch.
Hey,
cool. Thank you very much. I'll take that back from you. So we'll go head back to the Vixen booth as long as our cameraman doesn't trip over the one wheel that Ian's just left adrift. So thanks so much for hanging out with us. In a moment, I'm going to be interviewing the folks over at Bespoke in a bit more detail. But if you want to find out more about what we've been doing at Vixen, and also if you want to get hold of the research I mentioned before, go to vixenlabs.co/VCI. You can get the Voice Consumer Index to download from there. You'll be able to get the white paper. You can also download the video content and our podcast Talking Shop, where we've gone into lots of these kind of retail verticals as well. So go and check that out, and we look forward to seeing you over there.